folks, let's talk about the basic life cycle of a mushroom. Either it's wild or cultivated, doesn't matter, it's going to kind of go the same route. Mycelium is the main organism here, okay? Now, we often talk about mushrooms, but they actually are just condensed mycelium. Mycelium being the organism that grows most prevalent out in the wild. So if you're out there in the wild, out in the forest, and you were to dig out throughout the ground, you would see many different types of mycelium. The most common we see, that we note anyhow, is a white fibrous looking growth, kind of like mold. That's where it all starts. That grows under the ground, it absorbs nutrients, and it spreads. And then once it decides, well, hey, I've got these great conditions, I've got enough food, or maybe I've run out of all the food and I need to reproduce, I want to spread, That's when the fruiting body comes in and you get a mushroom. The mycelium reaches to the surface, it finds the light, it finds the air, and it creates a fruiting body, which then sporulates, sending the spores out throughout the air, throughout the environment. Animals eat the mushrooms and spread the spores with their feces. A great many ways these spores are spread. Once those spores land somewhere else, they start that cycle over again. The mycelium grows there, or at least has a chance to. It's a very, very small chance. There's a lot of competitors in the wild. Let's get down to it, because what you really want to know is the life cycle of that cultivated mushroom. So here we go. Now, your typical starting points are going to be spores, liquid culture, cultures on Petri, slants, or in distilled water. You can also buy yourself a kit. Those come in various forms, and you may in fact have an all-in-one bag. If you have a kit or an all-in-one bag, just follow the instructions. Hopefully they're good enough, and get that puppy done. Sit back and see it do its thing. Otherwise, I would suggest that you start on agar. If you got spores, put them to agar to germinate, and also to make sure that you have a nice clean sample. And you can select genetics. Maybe you want to get a big swath of it and grow a whole bunch of stuff out. Maybe you just want to really narrow scope and have a full canopy and just have that isolate straight out the gate. Well, you can do it at agar. But the first thing is to make sure that if you have a culture or spores, that it's clean on agar. If it's clean, the next thing that you should do is take that mycelium, that clean plate, put it to grain. If your LC that you bought checked out and it's clean, go ahead and shoot your grain with it. You're good to go. Same with an all-in-one bag. If it comes with liquid culture, test it on agar. Make sure that you have a clean liquid culture you're shooting into that grain and that substrate so that it comes out good for you. Now, once you get your grain, it's going to colonize, and that's our incubation phase. The mycelium has to grow and get strong. Then when you take that nice healthy grain bag and you add it to substrate, which, as I like to claim, is just a fancy term for dirt. Specialized dirt that doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of nutrients in it, but allows for air exchange and moisture exchange for the mycelium to grow and then fruit out our mushrooms, which we want. So you will take that grain, you add it to your substrate, mix it up, and maybe you put it in a bag, maybe you put it in a bucket, maybe you put it in a tub. Either way, you're increasing the airflow, and all of a sudden, your dirt and your grain combined turn into fruiting conditions, and you get mushrooms. Voila! And thus is the life cycle of the fungus. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a Treedigg School of Rockin' Agar production. Thanks for tuning in. Check us out next time.